Self. There we go. I don't know if anybody was listening to that rant. Welcome. It's good to have the mic on. I don't think it was on. I don't know if we've done a stream in a while here at tridactyls.com. We do have a couple things going on. One of those is we are going to rerun our competition, our contest. We're going to run our contest for the free Tridactyl head. We're just going to give it a week this time instead of a sort of a nebulous kind of, it'll end when it ends. So let's go ahead and take a look at the latest poster. If you all would like to win a Tridactyl head, and remember too, whatever social media you're on, X or Facebook, you should be able to comment, and I should be able to see it if things go well. Let's see here. I'm going to share this screen here, do a little something different today, and hopefully my organizational skills will pay off. Here we go. Win a free Tridactyl head. Contest ends July 9th. Make a post, meme, or video on X about some part of the constant companion theory from Tridactyls or at Tridactyls that you think could be possible. You know, something likely, something you agree with, some theory. Best post with the most engagement wins a life-size resin cast head of a Tridactyl. And here it is. I actually use these heads all the time when doing streams. For making info memes because it's pretty accurate and it depicts some really interesting structures that the Tridactyls have. So yes, that competition is going on. To win, you do have to make sure you hit at Tridactyls, and you have to make sure you put hashtag constant companion theory, and the best post, and that's kind of nebulous, it's kind of subjective, best post with the most engagement, that's not subjective, wins a life-size resin head. So pick one of our 100 different theories, because our constant companion theory is really all encompassing. If you ask me, it's a big theory, covers a lot of stuff. So we do have that competition going on. Why don't we leave that up? We do want to talk steganography, and you know, I am so surprised by the number of things I'm finding, and I think the only reason I'm able to find them, and again, please, if you want to chat or make a comment, or if you're interested in coming on either video or audio, please, let me know. Let's see. We got somebody in the chat. We got Gears fans saying, "Hey man, let's share his little booger there. Let's share his booger comment." All right. Hey, man, we're bugging out. Thanks for coming, Gear. Got any questions, comments, insults? I'm short and bald. I know. Well, let's see. Here we got Gears fans. Let's post this. Montserrat mummy was debunked to be a llama skull, homie. Business is over, bro. I was sad because I wanted to believe. Wow, that's great. Let's look at my post on the kappa. And maybe that will help explain a few things here. Let's see. I've got a nice kappa post just for you. This one is in Espanol. I hope you don't mind. Okay, so reasons why the llama skull is a llama skull. Hey, man, if these Tridactyls are the creator beings of myth and legend, then the llama is just one of their many children. Yeah. But let's talk about why the skulls are completely freaking different. For one, the llama skull, and hopefully can you see my mouse on the screen? Should be a way to be able to draw on your screen. I don't know why I don't have that ability. That's like a Google thing, right? So the top of the skull, the sagittal crest, is very pronounced in the llama. You can see it really well. And I would say actually on some of the other specimens, like the decapitated head, you might even see the sagittal crest even more pronounced there. But in Josephina, it's a little more subtle. And on the llama, the sagittal crest goes all the way to the supraorbital ridge, the cordiform ridge. And by doing that on the llama, it denies Josephina her ability to have what I call the kappa, which is this concave, I don't want to say indentation, concave depression is a better term, this concave depression here, which you can see best depicted in mythological creatures in Japan of the same name. The other thing that the llama does not have, I notice, it doesn't have an occipital protuberance. Protuberance. Said it right on the second one. Does not have the occipital bump. That's another way of putting it. It's non existent. So these little subtleties I could see being missed if you're experiencing the dreaded pareidolia. Yeah. Yeah, who's suffering from the pareidolia right now? The people squinting, trying to make this llama skull work? Or this skull on my screen that I've located in Artemis egg B, I guess you'd call it. It's middle egg. So I appreciate those. I love even any sort of debunker claims or skeptics. If you guys want to make comments, it's fine. Just be nice, because you got one strike. If you're a schmuck, then you're blocked. With politics, I would give people 3 strikes. With this, you get 1 strike. That's it. You're out. So here we go again. Can you search for a video on TikTok to compare? Thanks. Let's go ahead and look at the good one. Yeah, Gear's kicking it today. So let's go to alien bodies on Reddit, where I believe is where I had just seen a video here. Here we go. Now, admittedly, the concave depression, the kappa is a lot harder to see on this. But one of the first things you can see, if I was sharing my screen, share this tab instead. Here we go, right away. How cool is that? Booga booga. Can I move these guys around by any chance? Yeah, let's do this. Because, let's see, which way am I looking? Over here? I want to look at the things. Am I looking at the things? Sort of. Okay, so right away, you can see the sagittal crest on the llama, and you can see immediately that it is not continuous on Josephina's skull. It is not. Let's move on. Let's just hit play and just let this this video play out here. We'll use the same evidence that others are using. And, I'd like to point out that if we're basing this on, Dr. Brown, for one, I don't think he has a background in physiology or medicine. And 2, he may have just been playing devil's advocate, because he gave the skeptics the skull they wanted. Okay, you got a llama skull. But then he immediately goes in to say, I don't know what the other stuff is. And that's the problem with saying this is a llama skull. Does that mean all of the smaller ones have llama skulls? And where's the incisions, etc.? All that stuff. This thing's playing a little slow, so I'm going to fast forward it, because we don't really need to see the giant llama skull. We really want more of Josephina. Okay. Now, it's, again, a little hard to see. I think we'll get a better shot maybe later. Well, actually, that spot right there is good. Let's let her turn around a little bit. I liked seeing on the left side. Let's. All right. So, well, what can we look at here for a moment as I'm trying to adjust the screen? So this is the occipital protuberance I was referring to. Easier just to call it an occipital bump. That's the back end of Josephina's head on the left. Doesn't really look apparent on the llama skull to myself. And again, we're looking really at how the sagittal crest on the llama is continuous, while with Josephina, it is not. Do they not turn her head all the way? I keep getting the right profile. I'd like to see the left. What can we see from the top that's different? Again, I don't know if it's the lighting on my screen, but this still works. I mean, look at that pronounced sagittal crest on llama. Okay. And again, that ridge continues right up to the top. On Josephina, there are some slight indentations. Maybe we'll get another view of an indentation here. We're looking for that, a good pronounced kappa still to make our final point here, aside from other structures like, and you can still see it. It's a little bit on, it's just a little bit in the head. It's really, I think, better looked at on the diagram. And I'm not super satisfied. If I wouldn't say like, oh, showed you guys, slam dunk. I'm not super satisfied with showing you the kappa on this. I'm going to just spin it around just a little bit more, and who knows? Maybe we have to go to another place to just get a better view of it. But really, it's the indentation right before the peak of the head begins, and also, another structure that I didn't really talk about that. And maybe the llama has it too. I don't know. Is that Josephina has two lateral ridges that are subtle. So it is, I guess you could say, extremely similar. It really is. But I would have to say, not similar enough, to be honest. And again, that means we have to prove this on every one of the little buddies, right? And it doesn't explain the rest of the body. So I don't know. I'm pretty much good with this thing not being a llama. There's just a lot of pareidolia that is needed to make that face even happen. It's because it's the same, bro. Yeah, you think it's the same? I mean, your idea of same is negotiable there, Gear. It really is negotiable. It's not the same because, again, let me reiterate, the sagittal crest is continuous on the llama. It is not continuous on Josephina. There is no occipital protuberance on the llama. And again, this is a thing of where we get criticized for pareidolia. And here is the pareidolia occurring from supposedly a scientific viewpoint. So, anyway, that is one skull. So we'll have to see, I guess, what happens to the other one. We're really here to talk a little bit about steganography and about hidden art messages. So we did release a groovy new video All right, all right. So it appears as though, as been suspected perhaps over the centuries, that there is hidden information out there, occult knowledge ready to be revealed. And so by simply watching some other folks' adventure videos of going to locations, going to temples and pyramids and various ruins and whatnot, I've been able to see things. They've taken me on journeys with them. So thank you, YouTube, and thank you, all you streamers. I'll be sure to be giving lots of credit to everyone in the future. Right now, I'm a little scattered, and I'm just trying to get the information out there. So, where have I seen these beings? I've seen them in the Yaksha guardian statues. So, I believe that our primary alpha and beta gods are horned god and goddess from pagan terminology. Were later regulated to little guardian beings that you see as food dogs and other guardian animals out there. And so, one of these guardian beings flanking another statue had its arms crossed, which interestingly, that arms cross revealed a tridactyl face. Other interesting things included the pillars of the Temple of Hathor. It turns out that if you look at the corner of the pillars, looking at both sides of a face, you will see a relatively realistic depiction of a tridactyl face on those pillars. So these are the type of things we're able to spy. We're looking at also going back. So, the tridactyls, I think, can be really seen well in things like the Dogu artifacts and the Syrian eye idols. But I think also they might be able to be noted in Ice Age artifacts, Ice Age petroglyphs and pintographs, they call them, cave paintings. And so let's take a look at a meme I made recently about this particular theory. So let's go ahead and share a screen here. I can pretty much always stay on camera because I'm always small. I don't have to. I just think it's a distraction. So according to what was her background? I want to say she had a master's in anthropology and she was investigating art. Her name is listed down below, Genevieve von Petzinger. She did a in-depth study on the geometric signs of France specifically. And so these are just some examples of locations that these cave paintings could indicate a tridactyl presence going back 50,000 years. Now, what's interesting about the footprint is that there is another glyph that she counts separately, which looks like two footprints on top of each other. There's also another glyph called the reniform, this bean-shaped, which I think is still the cordiform-shaped design. So you could probably double the instances in examples and locations if I were to add these two additional signs to this. And again, this was just a simple graphic just to give people an idea what we're dealing with here. So we've been looking into cave paintings, and if you want to talk pareidolia, that's probably where we're going to get accused for pareidolia by the cave paintings, I'm sure. But I've been staring at this particular one, for years, and this is supposed to be a buffalo. Well, we were just talking about the various parts of a tridactyl skull, you might be able to see a few pieces of anatomy on this thing here. So I've gone from looking at artifacts and being satisfactory with such things as this Amun statue. Perhaps this is what the Sphinx may have looked like. Perhaps it had a head of Amun on it. And you could maybe still see the remains of the pharaoh on the Sphinx's statue, on its chest. But what sort of imagery does that present to the people if there is a pharaoh being overshadowed by a tridactyl? So we're talking about Ice Age. We're moving into megaliths and dolmens and menhirs, all these things, these stone edifices. And is there something to them? Is there something more to the cave paintings? Take a look at this. Now, I can't really zoom in on that, can I? So this is they call it the Venus piece. And now I get accused again of pareidolia, but they're saying that this is a vulva. I see what they're saying. Could be like two legs. I get it. But isn't that the idea of steganography anyway? The idea of steganography is to conceal the art, conceal the information. So conceal the information within the art. And not only do I think this may be a tridactyl being, but I believe that these tridactyl beings may be specific individuals from history. For example, perhaps Josephina or perhaps even Maria. If Maria has evidence of big cat damage, being attacked by a jaguar, I know Josephina does. Is that an indication that this being is the moon goddess of the Incan myths that was said to be attacked by jaguars when there was a full moon lunar eclipse? So again, who has the pareidolia? If this is, tell me, Dr. Freud, if someone's suggesting that this is a vulva. I think it might be a specific individual. Perhaps it's even that headless individual with the cranial ridges. But look at that hand. Well, I believe that these beings may have personal names, and I've been following a phoneme by the sound of ka. Ka and ki. I believe it's coming out of Southeast Asia, and it is a phoneme related to the Nagas of Southeast Asia because it appears in a lot of personal names. And I'm looking at that hand signal right now, and it's almost like, is he teaching language right now to the world, to whoever is listening? Is the left hand giving us a K? Is the right hand perhaps a vowel sound? Is this being saying ka right in front of us? So we had an interesting meeting recently, and it was with Dr. Zalce Benitez and Jose Lopez. I believe I'm getting his name right, Dr. Lopez. Those two were both on answering questions. It was super informative. I found out that sure enough, there are alien fetuses in Mexican specimens. I haven't got a confirmation on my own. I thought we should go ahead and look at that video again because why? Well, again, we just got confirmation that there are fetuses in the eggs, and I believe I've spotted them.
The eggs of the tridactyl specimen known as Artemis. The eggs appear to be in a state of hatching. What one expects to find in the eggs of a tridactyl are pig dragons. Pig dragons were made by the Hongshan culture circa 3500 BC, give or take 1,000 years. Oh, is that one there? Let's follow that anomaly, that appendage off of the large mass of egg. There it goes. We have the upper view, looking down. or looking upwards at its chin. Is that a face of a tridactyl fetus? Is this the face of a pig dragon?
What you can see, hopefully, is you should see a profile of a reptilian like being, a serpentine like being, and perhaps little proto limbs, almost fin like in the front. I do not expect to see rear limbs. So Gear's got some other questions. So yeah, Gear, I just realized something after you left too. It's that it wasn't Montserrat with the llama skull. Montserrat is also a hybrid. Montserrat is a hybrid, and Maria are hybrids. Yeah, that's why they're like 5 foot something. So yeah, it's going to be really, honestly, really hard to prove this whole phenomenon false, especially if the only fuel that the debunkers have is this skull. And I'm sorry, guys. I think you're playing with pareidolia, to be honest, which is super, super ironic from where I stand. Yeah, they have more human-like skulls. Those are what you might call they're similar to the Paracas skulls. Yeah. So we're looking at this supposed fetus. I haven't got any confirmation from anybody on this. I'm pretty sure I see what I see. And again, if you saw the little bit on the pig dragons, I believe these are exhibited in the archaeological record in the material culture of Japan, China. Japan will provide us with the magatama, which are like smaller, more embryonic stone stage of it. Yeah, so they have lots of different versions of those. Of course, my belief is that these beings are really, if I had to give them a Latin nomenclature, I would call them Nagi Tridactyls. These are the Nagas of the Chinese myth. This is the Nagas of Indian myth, the dragons of Chinese myth. And they've been around for a long time. Those were the teachers. Those were the post-deluge tutory beings. They taught us language. They taught us script. Evidence of their existence can be found in our symbolic language of letters and other things. So, good stuff, good stuff. We were talking about steganography, hiding information, talking a little bit about the pig dragon. I don't have a lot of artifacts with me in front of me today, but we'll have to do a special stream just on the Hongshang artifacts. Quetzalcoatl in Mexico. And not only that, but listen to the phoneme in there. You have the ka sound, kukulkan. So I've been following the ka phoneme around. And we can even look at that if we can, always good to find stuff when we can. If I can post something to support my crazy theories, right? Someone pointed out that I have a hypothesis. I feel like I have enough evidence that isn't it a theory at this point? When does it become a theory, right? Okay, so part of my theory on the Naga Tridactyls is that they originate in Sri Lanka or somewhere in Southeast Asia. And it is from here that they were able to spread the banana and various tuber goods, tuber products across the world. I believe they circumnavigated south of Africa and started a colony on the southwest corner of that coast. It's interesting that on the east coast of South America, they're finding Neanderthal DNA, and it's also where, and I can't remember which tuber it was. I want to say yams. I'm getting my potatoes mixed up. There is a tuber that's found on the east coast that's also found on the west coast of Africa. So here's the ka phoneme, and it's with its possible actual script. So you can see there's a little bit of a theme there. I think from there, the ka becomes a ya and becomes an yo, io, or trying to think of another one. What's the rune? I want to feel like I'm saying chess in Spanish. Uh, Ahuas rune, is that what it is? It's been a while since I've said it. The Ahuas rune. Yehuas rune. Maybe that's another way of pronouncing it better. That those are a continuation of that phoneme. There was something else. Oh, yeah, the letters. We wanted to get into the letters a little bit. So here's just some letters. I mean, I could probably pull out more from history as we keep searching all the different alphabets. This one's great, though. This one shows you some of the Semitic letters, including the Syriac Shin. So Shin is the first letter in Shaddai, one of the names of God, the feminine name of God. My theory, of course, is that even letters like A and B, depicted on the first line here, the first row is Phoenician script as the result of these beings. You can see some of the beings on the third row are depicting the child, specifically Chinese Ji is the child. We also have the two serpentine beings on the right, one possessing the head of a tridactyl. I mean, come on, that's why I love pointing out all these things to people. If you notice the occipital protuberance, if you notice the kappa, if you notice the cordiform ridge, it'll help you identify these beings in the future. And so here we have them right there. That's what I kind of expect to come out of the egg. The fetus will look something like that Kia over here on the right. Yeah, I can see my mouse. Cool. And then, of course, I mean, the Chinese Tian characters are just wacky as hell, right? They're little beings. The Tian symbol are little beings that stand for sky, heaven, God, all these crazy things. So it's an enormous theory, the constant companion theory. It is. It's all encompassing. And I think there's a reason for it because we have had significant contact with these beings. Wow. So any more questions? Anybody watching out there? If you have a question, all you have to do is type in the chat. I believe that's where Gears is typing. He might be typing on Facebook. Did we post Gears' last? Yes, we post. No, we didn't post his last thing. I tried to post everybody's comments. So here we go. He's mentioning Quetzalcoatl in Mexico. Gear is mentioning how the pig dragon is very, very crazy. Yeah, a lot of what I'm doing is utilizing myth. I'm not ignoring the belief systems, the cosmologies of primitive people. I've had to give respect now to the Abrahamic religions, which I tend to just throw rocks at when I can. But I think they got some stuff right. The pagans got some stuff right. The Muslims, I don't know what they got right. Maybe they got something, I'm sure. I joke, my Siddiqui Mumtaz. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. Gears got something else. I want to believe that the Tridactyls are like avatars, some kind of remote control androids, but they're created. Yeah, I mean, they could be some sort of physical shell, absolutely. And maybe some sort of greater beings possess them. And perhaps the bodies are just good for what they need to do, Stay small, stay unseen. I don't know. And then maybe that's why, well, to be honest, though, I think perhaps a different form predates even these bipeds. I think the uncanny valley may not have been good with some of the serpentine beings or even the larger ones. I mean, really, I think we could probably use at this stage We could even probably just use the Hindu myths to describe who we have right now. We have the big hands of the Rakshasas. We have the little beings, which are the Yakshas or the Yaksha. I guess I don't know if you need the S. And perhaps even the little curled beings, the so-called insectoids, are actually another mythological animal, not pig dragons, but dragon turtles. It was hard for me to come up with. Turtle dragons, dragon turtles, turtle dragons might be better. And I think this particular Hongshang artifact here, which simultaneously depicts a fetus, but is also a resemblance of a shell here. Chaneka, so like dwarves, right? And nanos, perhaps, would be another term. So yeah. So once they leave the Naga stage and they become bipeds, or they're not giant Rakasha ogres ready to eat you, then yeah, there are a million things to us on the planet, aren't they? They're the Menehune of Hawaii. They're the fairy folk of Celtic lore. The Wandinga of Australia. Don't know if I'm saying that right. Dwarves, elves, gnomes, kobolds, goblins, hobgoblins. The myths have been there forever. And we've played them off as fairy tales because it's just been so long. What's interesting about the steganography, you know what? Do you mind if I play that again? I hope you don't mind. I'd like to play the steganography again, only because I have a little side story to it. And we'll just, again, watch the first video. There are two subjects. You can watch see the other one. Let's just show that. Yeah. Okay, so, and some of you might be able to point out the face. You might see it right away now, right? So my theory always was the Yakshas represented the Tridactyls. I noticed that the older gods, like even Ptah and Isis of ancient Egypt, they're little dwarves they depict them as. So what I think may have happened is, if you're familiar with the Master of Beasts motif, Master of Animals shows a being usually clenching. Let me get a little closer here. I don't know. Let me go full screen for this. Clenching. Two. Oh, I see. I've got that damn thing. I should be more centered, huh? I would like to have a big screen. What am I doing here? So anyway, the Master of Beasts motif, we'll look into it, shows a human-like person clutching two animals. And maybe that was just let me go back. Maybe you'll hear me better here. Okay, so my theory was, again, that pillars like the Hathor columns, also other things, the Syrian eye idols, the Zoannon of Greece, all of these things, Asherah poles, all of these things were predecessors to the Ionic columns. The Ionic columns nailed it. Stylized depictions. They hid the knowledge of the Tridactyls to the normies. And so here we go. Let's look at this video one more time. Close up, you might not be able to see it. Smaller, you might be able to see it. Let's just pause it right there. We can go up a little bit. Guys, this is a tridactyl face made of, let's keep going, made of two faces of Hathor. And what they really did, they nailed, I've noticed this on a couple of other pieces that we could look at. They've really nailed the realistic looking eye. How the hell did they do that? And I'm talking specifically about the eye on the center being on the left. They really nailed that eye. I thought this was super cool because, well, it's ancient Egypt. You guys want proof of alien intervention? Here we go. We could say it's pareidolia. I don't think so. I don't think so. And again, this is after I already had a previous theory. So to like find this evidence was really invigorating and just keeps me going, because that means there's other stuff out there. That means you guys can find other stuff. We are all on a virtual dig together. I'm officially calling myself a xenoanthropologist. I have a BA in anthropology. Well, I just gave myself a promotion. I wanted to show you more steganography because, I can show you one piece and you could be like, oh, that's interesting. That could be pareidolia. Or we can look at several pieces and be like, oh, okay. So let's go ahead and look at the other accompanying piece, the alpha to the beta that we just saw. And this is the face post Photoshop, obviously. Probably not real cool to show you. Well, as we look for that, here's another artifact. Here's a Vinci style artifact. Note again that we do have the groovy head on top, which might be an animal. I noticed in the northern latitudes that many cultures, the bear is the humanoid sort of tridactyl being. Yeah, looks like ET, man. Sure freaking does, doesn't it? Good eye, Gear. Yeah, it looks like ET. That's what I'm saying. So we're looking for what? I'm looking for more examples. Well, of course, there's this. This is the head of Ganesh. But you can see I get super even just distracted on my own stuff because I'm like, look at this. Isn't this cool? I found this. This is so much stuff. Okay, so here's talking steganography. I thought this was a good one. And this is, my eyes have become so in tune to it. And hopefully all of yours will too, that even when this thing came upon my timeline, I wasn't even looking for anything. I was able to zoom in. Looks like we have a different face on the cat head by zooming in there on the top. And then if we zoom into the folded arms, once again, there's hyper realistic eyes in there as the other piece. Who knows, Lord, what else is in there? There might be, I see it with a lot of these artistic pieces that there's multiple faces many times. It could be demonstrating lineage or fertility. All right. Can we go back one more time to the our dear friends, the yakshas? And I don't know. Maybe I didn't like the guy on the right as much as the one on the left. But well, I can't even see it. So we did get to see some more steganography though. So that's good. Again, any other questions out there? Gear keeps interacting with me. Gear, are you on Facebook or on Twitter? Out of curiosity. I appreciate the interaction. Let's remind everybody that we do have a new competition. I'm only running it for a week, guys, because, and as Cosmic said, he didn't know if it was a good idea for me to assign homework. But come on, you got to earn it. There goes Jose talking about some eggs. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, we can keep talking. We can talk about llama heads till we're blue in the face. So Gear's interacting with Facebook. If you're on X, you can interact with me there. You can also request to be on the show if I know you and you're not a complete psychopath. I will take 50% psychopaths only. And I was going to show you the latest ad. So we are running another advert again. Let's go. Duo screen. Here it is. Duo screen. I like being on this side, I guess, better. All right, here we go. Win a free Tridactyl head. Contest ends July 9th. Make a post, meme, or video on X. about some part of my theory, the constant companion theory. We have never been alone. We have been interacting with these beings at least since 3500 BC, according to the Syrian eye idols, and maybe as far back as 50,000 BC if we're finding any sort of clue in Ice Age paintings, cave paintings. So yeah, the best post. So if you nail like some part of my theory and say, hey, this is interesting, and you get a lot of likes, you do a lot of shares, et cetera, then we'll judge and we'll send someone a free head. And then you can do stuff like this online and be like, la, 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 I got me some head. I think I've ranted on long enough. I covered what I wanted to cover. Steganography is real. Keep your eyes open for hidden tridactyl faces. I believe the fetuses are real, at least in Artemis, from what I can tell. And I believe that mythological precedent and ancestral narrative is helping guide my hypotheses into the science. We try to guess whether they have a marine beginning. We believe they do. We try to guess that they have hermaphroditism and parthenogenesis. Well, Maria may prove that. We believe that there's a metamorphosis that takes place. We're hoping that the fetus in the egg will prove that. Yeah, the ant people too. All right, it's just another name for them. Thank you for sharing that, for sure. All right, I've been on for like an hour, I think. Have I? Oh, I haven't. I've got 8 more minutes. Well, in that case, again, I'm going to open this up and I'm going to say, please, someone come on the show and talk for 8 minutes or send me another interesting chat. Let's talk about the Nazca ant people. How about that then? So if you notice in some of the petroglyphs, pictographs, the Tridactyls are frequently depicted with horns or antenna. And I think the antenna are just, which might even be the plumes of the plumed serpent, best depicted on the head, the decapitated head. So you know what? Let's go look at the decapitated head and see if that supports us on our theory that, that horns, antenna, and the like are really just coming. And besides, who knows what these ridges actually looked like when they were fleshy and alive? They may have looked a lot different. We'll use this one for today. So you can see the ridges. You could also see where this one does have a pronounced sagittal ridge, a third ridge, which you'll see depicted in art too. And not all of them are depicted with that third ridge. So maybe this one's more llama-like, huh? Because of that. But even still, he ends up having some sort of a dual kappa because of his pronounced lateral ridges. Good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, those ridges might be the explanation for antenna and horns in our myth. The explanation for Pan and the satyrs and all those things. You know, there's a myth of Pan that he jumps into the Mediterranean and turns into a fish and becomes Capricorn. Isn't that interesting? Have you ever taken the time to actually look at the island of Capri and its shape? It's a unique shape. Let's see if we can find that. Yeah, please definitely troll through my photos, my media on. I'm going to turn myself off. In the lower corner here, I'm just going to, I guess not the lower corner, my other half. I'm just going to demonstrate that even Capri has a passing resemblance to a tridactyl. So is the island of Capri named so because its face is reminiscent of a tridactyl, or perhaps So here, I didn't realize that my sound is dropping when I turn off my camera. I always thought I had to hit the mute button. How weird is that? Yeah, let's go here maybe. So let me just reiterate then. This is the Master of Beasts motif. It's usually a human being between two animals. Many times a serpent, doesn't have to be. Many times the serpent is shown with 2 or 3 horns. There's usually a supporting being that could be yaksha dwarves, or it could be something like a lizard or even a scorpion. And above we have the Sky Father, sometimes represented by the god Bes. So there's plenty of talk of the Garuda versus the Naga, birds versus dwarves. So is this a real conflict? Is it a factional conflict? Is it something they just taught us to teach us? Is it really different being Skyfather versus Tridactyls? When they were forced underground and left the greater interaction with us, was that because of some being? We're going for an hour today, guys. So I'm sorry if you get bored. If you'd like to keep interested, get on the show, send some messages like Gear has. I want to thank Gear a lot, even if he was a bit conflictory. Is that the word? it's good to get put on the spot sometimes if I have the answer for it, right? It sucks when you don't have the answer. I think I have the answer for the skulls. I have my own personal, I'm going to say, expertise due to physical anthropology, biological anthropology classes. We've looked at enough skulls. I used to do daily tours using skulls. So, yeah, in some regards, I am an expert. And since I feel like I've done the most research the last almost 9 months now of pure research into this, I might be becoming an expert on, yes, the cultural influence that these beings have had, especially if little things are being reinforced by such discoveries as tridactyl faces in the Pillars of Hathor, or tridactyl faces in Yaksha dwarves. So something's happening. Thank you, Gear. I'm trying hard. I appreciate you saying you appreciate the research. And, despite a lot of the gaslighting I do get a lot of people, many times privately, just sending me a message saying, hey, man, thanks for what you do. Keep on doing it. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to keep on searching. We're in the Ice Age now. So we're going to keep searching. We're going to keep looking at videos. For entertainment, I get to watch all this stuff and things get revealed to me. So if you like anything I have to say, be sure to make your own constant companion theory post. Hashtag us in that at Tridactyls, and maybe you can win a resin cast Tridactyl head. These things are pretty tough. I think they're tougher than the 3D printed models. Alien Ed out. Keep the wonder. Live long and prosper. Where's my hand? There we go.